Our breaking news just coming in to CNN right now. A federal judge in New York has just granted the U.S. Justice Department's request to unseal records from the investigation and criminal prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell, of course, was an associate of Jeffrey Epstein. The ruling opens the door for the department to publicly release evidence it had gathered against Maxwell. The trove of documents includes grand jury transcripts, financial records, travel documents, and notes from victim interviews obtained during the investigations. We're just getting Elie Honig in to give us some legal analysis right now on this Justice Department decision to release a whole bunch of documents involving Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman who was involved with Epstein, as all of us know. What's your sense? When are these documents going to be released, and how significant are they?
Well, Wolf, so these are the grand jury materials that relate to the Justice Department through the Southern District of New York's prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell, which happened primarily in 2020. Now, DOJ had gone to this judge, Judge Paul Engelmeyer, before a few months ago and asked for permission to unseal the grand jury materials. At that time, the judge denied the request because grand jury materials are ordinarily supposed to be confidential, and the judge said, I don't see any compelling reason why we need to change that. Now, what has changed, however, is that Congress has passed and the president has signed this Epstein Files Transparency Act, which essentially overrides the normal concerns about grand jury confidentiality. So the judge today has said, well, in light of this law that's been passed, I now order that the grand jury materials should be released. Now, as to what's in them, we have a little bit of a clue, Wolf, because when Judge Engelmeyer denied the initial request a few months ago, he said essentially, there's really not much that's new in these files. Most of what's in the grand jury materials is already known to the public through the indictment of Ghislaine Maxwell, through her extensive trial, through the briefs that the parties submitted, through the evidence at the trial. So I don't think we should expect, based on that, to see anything brand new and shocking. But what we will see is what evidence did prosecutors put in front of the grand jury? What testimony did this FBI agent give around the case? It'll give us some more visibility into how the Maxwell case happened.
And I just want to be precise and correct. This was a federal judge who ordered the release of these documents, not the Justice Department. Elie, is the Justice Department clearly going to obey what this federal judge has just ordered?
Oh, for sure. Yes. So prosecutors do not have the ability to release grand jury materials on their own. The process is, in the rare instance where a prosecutor, DOJ, is seeking to release grand jury materials, you have to go back to the judge and get special permission. The judge, Engelmeyer, has now ordered that, yes, DOJ, you can and must release those documents. DOJ has to. The law that was passed a few weeks ago requires DOJ to do this. The judge has now signed off. So everything is now in place. Those materials will be released. As to the when, Wolf, the law that was passed gave DOJ 30 days to release the Epstein materials. Day 30 is this coming Friday, which would be December 19th. So presumably DOJ, if they follow the law, will make at least the first bulk of those public disclosures a week and change from today. December 19th is sort of the key day to watch.
All right, stand by, Elie. Caitlin Polantz has been doing a lot of reporting on all of this. What do we anticipate, Caitlin? How significant will these documents be?
Well, Wolf and Pam, one of the things that Elie just said is that this judge, Judge Paul Engelmeyer in the Southern District of New York, he has already looked at these documents once. This is the second time around where the Justice Department has come to him and asked for the unsealing of these records. And the first time he looked at them and said, not much is here that isn't out there already publicly, because these are the grand jury records from the federal criminal case against Ghislaine Maxwell, who did ultimately go to trial and was convicted. And so much of what may be in this material are the types of things that would have come out at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, things like financial records, travel documents. Those are the things that are specified in the court order today as what may be in these grand jury records. We do know, though, another important point that the judge indicates here in this order this morning, saying, yeah, now that Congress has passed a law, we can unseal these grand jury records, even though you asked once before and The judge said no. In this round, whenever these grand jury records come out, the judge says that there will need to be some redactions made here to protect victim privacy, specifically information about victims and personally identifiable information. So this is the Justice Department taking a step forward, going back to the court now that Congress has passed that act of transparency to release the Epstein files. The Justice Department going to court and getting some of the bulk of the records, but this is by no means what everybody has wanted to see, which is the full FBI file. This is just what's in the hands of the court and what is very likely already largely out there.
All right. Well, we shall see, but this is certainly a significant development. It's unusual for a judge to allow the release of grand jury documents. All right, Katelyn Polantz, thank you so much.